But I'll leave you with something that happened during the week.
Before you leave them with something that happens during the week, I need you to take a jog through Third Mainland Bridge.
Yeah.
This morning. So before the end of the program, please run through Third Mainland Bridge and tell us. Okay, thank you.
I can remember for two editions of the Lagos City Marathon.
Yes.
I was one of the logistics member.
So
one
you
of
were
my
on Third Mainland.
designation was on the Third Mainland Bridge.
And what was the experience like?
It was cool. I never knew the view is that beautiful. Standing on it.
So you were not afraid that this bridge might cave in?
That was the fear. As of then, it wasn't a fear because there was no rumor of that.
There was no rumor. There was no rumor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kenny. Okay, viewers, it's still AM Saturday Live. And from the tracks of the sports world, we're back in the studio of those that just sit down and we cross our legs and we talk and we use our pen, laptops and all of that. Okay, just as you might have guessed, the Third Mainland Bridge, you know, there's this fear about that Third Mainland Bridge, especially during Christmas. You hear people, don't go on Third Mainland Bridge, oh, it's December, oh, anything can happen. But recently, the federal government has come out to say there's going to be a partial or a total closure, we don't know yet, but of that bridge for repairs. And this morning, we have in the studio the SA to Mr. Governor on Works and Infrastructure. You would expect me to say Engineer Mr., but let me let you know that it's an Engineer Mrs. ARAMIDE ADEYOYE. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, madam. Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking time out to be here on this program this morning. I know you have your work clothes in the changing room and you're about to go on a field. What exactly will be happening on the Third Mainland? A total closure for repairs, or what exactly is the situation? There are so many stories, so many stories. So what is the true situation?
Thank you. Once again, good morning for having me on your program.
Thank you.
What we have, and thank you for putting that question across. What you have is a partial closure.
Partial?
It's a partial closure. I recollect some days back, the Federal Controller of Works in Lagos State, Engineer Popola,
yes,
as well as the Commissioner for Transport and myself, we had a press briefing, and that was where we actually put it all across to the media to say what you have on Third Mainland Bridge is a partial closure. So it's not a total closure.
Okay.
Resident Lagosians will have the opportunity of still using that bridge, depending on the time of the day. It's just a partial closure. What you will have to be closed is the repair coming from Osborne heading towards Owuru. That is the section that will be closed. The other carriageway is open, and of course you're just going to give priority to whoever is coming in the morning. The peak traffic is people going towards the island. They then have the opportunity to use the road. And when it's evening time, the people that are going back will have the opportunity of using that same carriageway homeward bound. So it's a partial closure.
Is it that this bridge is bad? Is there a risk of a collapse, or what exactly is the situation? Because this is about the second time in 2 years or thereabout that this bridge is being closed. Is it that it's not that strong?
Okay, so let me put it this way: like everything in life, even your body needs maintenance.
Yes.
Your joints, the legs, you go for medical checkup. And let me put every human being. So also it is also with infrastructure. You have your routine maintenance, you have a preventive maintenance, you have series of maintenance programs, and once you program them, you need to follow them to the letter. For bridges, you have bearings, you have piers, you have substructure, you have elements of the substructure that you need to, from time to time, investigate and see exactly what the state is. Third Mainland Bridge was built in 1989. Coincidentally, I was on that construction team. Was built in 1989, was commissioned. It started in actually 87, and then by 1990, August 17, 1990, it was commissioned. It was commissioned, and then bearings are elements that you need to look from time to time to see. Of course, for a bridge, you might have fixed bearings, movable bearings, depending on which one. Along the section of it, there are some bearings that need to be replaced from time to time. When the last closure that was done was to allow the inspectors look at which of the bearings needed to be repaired immediately. And from that investigation, they needed to close down the bridge for that period, see it, examine it, and on that basis, know which of the bearings will be done. And of course, these are not elements that you pick on the shelf. you need to get back to the manufacturers of those bearings. They look at it, whether it's a movable one or a fixed one. They look at what they need to do and then order it, place the order, and then bring. Okay. So the contractor who is going to work there did then place those bearings, and they are here. The federal government did indicate to us as a state that these bearings are already ready. The contractor is ready. We programmed the work as far back as 9 months ago, that when school children go on vacation
in July.
When the traffic is low, the volumes of traffic is low, we will come back and do it. Okay. People have also asked questions, say, why didn't you take advantage of the COVID period, the lockdown?
Yes.
Because as at that time, nobody knew the protocols around COVID.
Oh.
Okay. And the border space also, the airspace was all closed up. Nobody knew the protocols, so it was difficult to undertake that kind of construction work and then the logistics at that time. So I guess this is the best time, but I also know that a lot of locations are also saying, why close this when you have a co-bridge still not yet fixed?
And I was going to come to a co-bridge issue. We're still going to come to a co-bridge. Okay. But before we talk about the repairs of a co-bridge and why close this, now, the number of times you have had to do inspection and fact-finding on the Third Mainland Bridge, the condition of the Third Mainland Bridge, that has not happened with a co-bridge. We've not had this kind of issues regularly closing a co-bridge for maybe checking up and maintenance and all of that. Could it be could it be a cause of the length of the bridge involved, or what? Why this?
Well, you're partly right, and I would say this. With Third Mainland Bridge, you have a lot of underwater structure. It's like a structure underwater.
Underwater, yes.
So you have, if you look, you should ideally every 2 years go there and do soundings, find out how your piers are doing, what kind of corrosion has taken place. You will recollect that I think sometime in 1993 there was a part of the outer marina that needed to be repaired. Because you had some piers between, I think, axis 106 to 110. There was a displacement because of the vortex effect, the current coming from around the 5 Cowrie Bridge. So every bridge needs maintenance. It needs to be investigated. There's a bridge maintenance unit in the Federal Ministry of Works. And I'm sure they have their program for inspecting all of those bridges. Third Mainland Bridge, like you said, it's a long bridge. It's longer than a co-bridge. A co-bridge is mostly on ground, except for the section that you're going to cross, depending on where you are. It's mostly on the ground. What you need to change with the co-bridge are mostly just the bearings, most times. But with the Third Mainland Bridge, you need to investigate the substructure foundations, what is happening from time to time. As a matter of fact, this repair works is in 2 phases. Phase 1, that's on the superstructure, and then the phase 2, which is below the superstructure. It's a construction period, maintenance period for 2 years. So the 6 months out of the 2 years is only the time that they will inconvenience Lagosians. The other 18 months, the contractor is working on the substructure on the water. So I needed to bring clarity to that.
So for 6 months now, there will be a partial closure.
It's a partial closure, and when because it's a partial closure, you have one side of the carriageway open for use while they're working on this other side. As soon as that side is finished, the other side just reverse it, and then that's it. Now, we've done this several times. This is not the first time we're doing this, and I think I don't want Lagosians to panic. I do not want us to panic.
We're going to come to if we should panic or not. They would let us have their messages if they will panic or not. But now, we're closing. We're having a partial closure of the Third Mainland. A co-bridge is not ready.
Yes.
So how will those commuting from mainland to the island, how will they cope?
Okay, good question. A co-bridge is not finished, but they've started. The federal government has started. You would see if your LTV reporters will be on the same fact-finding tour that we intend to start. The second round of the tour will starting from tomorrow. We'll have one tomorrow, and then we'll have another one on Wednesday, so that Lagosians can be convinced that truly we are really ready. The hard stands by the Gomu Bridge opposite the breweries, where the bearing was really bad, because the ground is soft there. And you needed to jack up the bridge to be able to change that particular bearing that was bad. You cannot you can't lift your hydraulic jack on a footing that is not firm, that the bearing capacity is not sufficient enough. So what the contractor has done is just to firm up the place and then set up the truss. So when we visit, it's something that everybody can see. You will see that the contractor is actually in the state of assembling all of the trusses ready for the hydraulic jack to lift up the bridge, and then you can change the bearings. So I think very soon, another 2 months or so, Eco Bridge, that particular bearing will have been changed. If the contractor keeps working at that pace, will have been changed, and that segment is open for traffic. So the next question you would ask is this: if it is not ready, what are the things that we have done as a state to ameliorate, create alternative routes, and then ameliorate the sufferings of the masses?
Because even these two axes, when they're opened, the state still has a lot of issues when it comes to traffic.
Exactly.
So how would we go?
And that's why we say, if there is no need, look at your schedules. If there is no need for you to really be out, you can work from home. You can use the waterways, but for as many people who cannot do without using the roadways, let us just observe the traffic rules. We will try to make all of the roads that has potholes right now, make them multiple. We will identify routes along this place that would enable people to get to the island. And so there are about 10 of them. Okay. And then of those 10, we are actually on all of the 10. We have completed 5 as I speak.
Which are the 5?
So we have completed. If you just go down, if you scroll out the list of the roads starting from the island. If you're coming from Osborne, you can either leave your Victoria Island and then come through Eco Bridge.
Okay.
Or you take that, you come through Kata, Ido Kata. Or you decide that you will go through Oyibo. You take that, still passing through Abamatokoli. As of yesterday, that segment around Abeokuta Junction had been completed. The picture PwC, I saw them already completed. And if you upload on the PwC website, you will see them. So out of the 10 roads we're supposed to walk, 5 completed, already. And then already the other 5 we're also working on them. With the permits we got last night, with the clearance that we got last night, PwC then has the liberty to be able to walk during the night. Okay. Because the curfew still exists.
Yes.
And so even with the curfew, we must make progress. So already there was a permit that we got a clearance last night, so which means tonight, PwC can walk tonight.
Walk tonight. Do they also have security? Of
course, all the logistics are in place. When you walk in the night, those logistics, they come along with it. So between now and Wednesday, walking through the night, we should be able to clear the last 5.
So that those ones should be ready before the partial closure.
Before the partial closure on
which
Friday.
Is on Friday, 24th of July. Now, looking at all of this, about traffic management, really, would you be working with the Transportation Ministry, for instance, to ensure that traffic management is done in a seamless manner?
Thank you. One of the first things as a state, when we were informed that this was going to happen, we set up, there was a responsibility matrix. We had meetings with the officials of the Federal Ministry of Works, and then we had a responsibility matrix, what the state was going to do in terms of traffic management. The LASMA, the Commissioner for Transport, was at that meeting. The officials, the GM LASMA was also there. Also from Ministry of Works, we were also there. So we had a collaboration, a very good meeting where everybody had a responsibility matrix with timelines, what exactly we were going to do. And everybody has tried like a Bible to follow it through. Okay. And so I want to say that that has been taken care of. Officials of Federal Road Safety Corps, they are involved. Even officials of LASEMA, because if people must use waterways, the boats, in the event of emergency, people are prepared. We do not pray for emergency, but just in case the emergency unit of LASEMA is already on top alert. The boats using the waterways also from Owuru. One of the things that we did as an administration coming on board was to say, in line with the team's agenda, in order to reduce the gridlock, aside from removing the gridlocks in the roundabouts, encourage people to use more of the waterways. So the roads, the access roads to those jetties, we decided to complete them. Odusi in Bariga, because there is a jetty there. Odusi in Bariga, that road was finished, just Anilaje. So people can actually take their boat, park their cars, and then take the boat. You can take that boat, any boat that has just maximum 10 passengers can conveniently go there. Except for high capacity boats, that's the one that cannot go in there. And that's because some form of
Thank you for staying tuned. It's still AM Saturday Live, and the essay to Mr. Governor on Works and Infrastructure is still in the studio. Engineer Mrs. ARAMIDE ADEYOYE. Well, while we were on that break, we had some messages coming, and the first I would like to take here is the issue with us has never been appropriate planning, but proper execution. How will this play out in this instance? That's the first one.
Like I said, responsibility matrices were done when we were going to start this, and everybody is following it to the letter. And at each point in time, you are sitting back to look exactly what we have planned, how is it working out. Before the test run tomorrow, we're all on inspection, where you have reporters, fact-finding mission, that they can actually confirm what we have said.
Okay.
I was on the field 2 days ago for Abebe, just to check if Eric Moore Abebe is working out.
Who is working out?
One of the things that we actually even saw was, and I keep saying this, every citizen has to take ownership of this infrastructure. All during the time of Governor Fashola, Eric Moore Road, as it is, over 1 kilometer of that road has had all of his manhole covers vandalized. It was like serial vandalization,
wow,
exposing people walking on the walkway to danger.
Wow.
And this didn't happen overnight. You had factories, you have residences right in front of it. So people must have seen, and those people are not ghosts. When the time they do them, the time of whether it's in the morning or afternoon or the night, people would actually see them. So the question is, why would we allow this kind of things to happen? It's only because we have not taken, as citizens, we have not taken ownership. And so in each of those manholes that are open, what you've had is you've had people begin to dump the refuse in them. And I keep saying this again and again. There is no magic to road construction once you adhere to the rules. Whenever you see a good road, don't look too far. There's a good drain. And if you see a bad road, you can have other reasons for that bad road, but the likely one must be the drain.
The drain.
That's assuming that you have fulfilled all other conditions as design, ensuring your QAQC during construction, but post-construction, whenever you see that road being good, that road has been maintained, that drain has been maintained. And if it's bad, somebody has tampered with the drain. And so you see them dump the refuse, and everywhere that they dump the refuse, from somewhere around Olam factory up to the junction of Nigerian Breweries, First Bank. The First Bank junction, further down, up to Akishemoyin, over 1 kilometer of that road had all of his manholes vandalized. And you saw the road, because then the drains were now getting blocked. You begin to see the deterioration along the road surface. The part that you found that was good was somewhere between Akishemoyin down to the Eric Moore Towers, towards the Eric Moore Towers. So what am I saying? We need to take ownership of these assets. It costs the government money out of lean, scarce resources. When you go back to go and develop, to rehabilitate a road that you think that you already come out of it, it's not doing us any good. So, and then secondly, when we abuse also those roads, the articulated trucks that come into Lagos, and this is where for the state, I think we're going to be very, very bold and audacious about some things. The maximum permissible, these are flexible pavements, the maximum permissible load, the gross maximum weight that you can carry, it's specified, but we abuse them. You see trucks carry, particularly the ones that are carrying pipeline products, you see them carry 50 tons because they have like 3 each of their tanks for their fuel.
Compartments.
They have compartments. They are carrying, some of them carry 45 tons, 50 tons.
What happened to the way bridge that used to exist by 7
So that's why we need to go back. We need to go back to the basics, go back to where we were coming from. And I think the time for Nigeria, it's a reset button. The things that we forgot to do, or somewhere along the line we lost it, we need to get back to them. Those way bridges were created for a purpose. So that's what we'll do in rehabilitating our roads now. The new roads we are beginning to construct. The state government is thinking of introducing the way bridges.
Okay.
Introduce the way bridges as a check. It's not a toll bridge, but a way bridge. So, and if it works with the automatic number plate recognition, if you're an articulated truck, you go on them. Your number registers automatically, and it hits your BVN. Nobody is stopping you, so the interference with the driver is minimal. It hits your BVN. So next time when you see it, you're alert. You know that you have done something, and the reason for debiting is clear. All we're doing is to try to protect those pavements that they last, because relatively more than 80% of our pavements are flexible pavements. They have been designed with some values of loadings on them. They are not designed to take 100 tons, 60 tons, 50 tons. And when we do this one, over time, we see those roads, they fail.
Okay.
So abuse is one of the major reasons why our roads fail, why they don't last. If those roads have been designed, constructed very well, the onus is on us to maintain them without abusing them. But when you have abused, you make maintenance very difficult.
Okay, let's come to the second text message. It says, our leaders should learn to arrange for proper and workable alternatives when projects like these come up. Citizens would always understand.
Well, it's right. And that's why, as a state, we have done, I keep saying it, we had a responsibility matrix. What we will do, the alternative routes that we'll follow, which I think can come up on the screen.
Let's have the alternative routes. So can you just mention those routes so that people will know them at home? Okay,
so it's on the screen, but if you go all the way from Ido, depending on where you are coming from, if you come from Ido inwards Kata Bridge, Ido inwards Ido from Ido, if you're coming from Osborne in the morning, from the island, because then you will not be able to use your bridge to come back to Keja. So you can actually go on from Ido towards Kata. Okay. That already is ongoing now. Ido inwards Kata, there are some repairs to be done, some portal repairs. It's ongoing as I speak. Okay. And like I said, we've had the benefit of having PwC granted a concession to work
at night.
At night. That was graciously approved last night. So at this night, they will be working with all of the logistics associated with them. Oyingbo Markets, inward Abadbakoli.
Okay, Oyingbo inward.
That's already done. It's completed now. Okay. On the fact-finding mission tomorrow, the crew from LTV can gladly accompany us, and they would confirm all of these things that we're saying. Abamakoli by Abekuta Street. If you're coming Abamakoli, there's a side road Abamakoli that they can use as a detour to get it. That is also ongoing. It's ongoing as well. You also have Apapa inward Oyingbo, Apapa Road inward Oyingbo. So you can actually take Oyingbo, Apapa. If you're coming from Apapa Road inward Oyingbo, and then you try to enter back to still get back into Third Mainland Bridge in the morning. That is also completed. You have Osborne Road Kata Bridge. Osborne Road Kata Bridge, or you could take Ijora Eco Bridge into Ijora Lopa, then you can now take Funshaw Williams and back to the island. That is already. So what Federal has done is to had a contractor work on it from that Jibo section up to Maryland. Okay. To get it resurfaced. While the state government from
that resurfacing is not yet completed.
That is done now. That is done now. And then we as a state, we already had a contract working on some sections from that place up to Odota in rigid pavement. Okay. In rigid pavement. The idea is you had underground drainage channels along that corridor. And if you don't regularly flush your system, once there is a blockage, that asphalt begins to fail. So what we have done is to do some flushing now and also change that pavement into a rigid pavement. That ensures that the road lasts longer, is sustainable. Rigid pavement is not an outright solution, but it helps the road last longer, given our habits. And for us, that's why even the maintenance costs, if you observe, the budget for maintenance is going up because of those habits. We are beginning to design to accommodate the habits of the people, which ideally should not be. We are changing the specification for semi-rigid pavements from 30 MPa into 45 MPa.
Why don't we drop the habits?
So that's where the process of engagement comes in. The Office of Civil Engagement, the Office of Drainage Services, the Ministry of Environment, and our ministry are collaborating to ensure that the citizens understand the reason why they need to take ownership of these assets, the reason why they don't need to drop refuse into the drains, because they are not meant refuse are not meant to be dropped in the drain. The reasons why the drivers of articulated trucks don't need to carry excess weight beyond what is permissible.
Okay. So let's quickly go. There's about 5 messages.
So I was going to go on the list of your roads.
I was going to say that. The list of roads
now is also ongoing. Okay. Mushi, Funshaw Williams, and the co-bridge to Akpongbon.
Okay. Mushi,
Funshaw Williams. So, and that Mushi now, I will now take the part Empire. Between Empire to Olorunibe.
That used to be a bad place.
So you ask yourself, and I like to be blunt about this. That's a road that has been repaired 5 times.
Really?
At some point in time, there was a contractor that was Mrs. NW that repaired that road. Maureen Monroe repaired it, and I think Julius Berger has also repaired it. So 2 times. So that makes 4. As a state, we're doing palliatives now, and we're intending to go the full log to do the permanent solution. For the period of this lockdown, we will do palliatives that will make it a riding surface. But ahead of the permanent solution, that's where the process of engagement comes in. Okay. That the government is going back to say, the money that I will have used to go open up new areas is what we are using to come back to repair this. And we're repairing because of the peculiarity of the habits of people around there.
Around there.
There is a market, so with the Yolaja General, we are fashioning out exactly what we're going to do. When people, the plantain market is around there.
Yes.
So anytime people, the stump from the plantain,
it comes up in heaps, and it's always there and by the roadside.
And it's always dropped in the drain. The Kobiti Canal there is always blocked. You needed to see on Tuesday or Wednesday, all of the residents, you could see all of the drains are all totally blocked.
Wow.
So the dustbin, the people around there, they have the habit of not, from the Office of Information available from the Office of Environment indicates that the people do not like to patronize the PSPs. And so whenever it rains, they just decide that those solid waste must be thrown in the drains.
They actually wait for the rain. So when the rain comes, they quickly pack them out.
And then throw. So it's a 2-pronged approach. You would have to find a way around the disposal of their refuse. And then secondly, the markets as well, engagement. So that they understand the import of what they are doing and the grave danger they are posing to the sustainability of these roads.
Away from Empower, which other routes are we having there?
So that, I think, Jibol to Yaba Bridge, Yaba to Ingotudo, and then Jibol to Yaba Bridge, that's also ongoing as well. So that gives you the number 10 of the roads. So of those roads, we're working currently on 10 of them at the same time. 5 have been finished completely, and while 5 are ongoing. With the permits, I'm sure we'll meet the Wednesday completion deadline. Ahead of the Friday closure.
Okay, I have a message here. When will the closure commence? It's commencing on Friday, 24th of July.
Correct.
At what time of the day?
Midnight, 11:55 p.m.
11:55 p.m. So you've heard that, 11:55
And the reason behind that is that people get used to the closure, the whole of Saturday, the whole of Sunday,
before they get to work on Monday.
So there is an adjustment period time.
Okay. So you have a whole lot. Just try and drive through on Saturday and Sunday so that you get your bearing and all of that, so that by Monday you get to work easily. Okay, another one says proper and timely information is important for government doings. It's easy for the public to buy into government workings when properly and timely informed. Please note, timely is of essence. Well, OC, this is why the essay is here, and she had to be on the field all through the previous weeks to ensure that all these roads are fixed, and that's why she's here this morning to enlighten us that it's not a total closure, a partial closure. The bridge is not collapsing, it's just being maintained, and it's just for 6 months for the surface, and they'll go underground for the remaining 18 months, am I right? And the alternative routes have already been highlighted. So the information is coming. Lagos is very responsible when it comes to that. Don't worry. Okay, this one, I don't know if she will be able to talk about it. But this is Abule Egba to Songwater. It's terrible and a total eyesore. It's a shame to this country. I know it's a federal road, but can Lagos Public Work help to patch?
Thank you. You said the gentleman rightly said it the way it is. It's a federal road,
yes.
Which means federal should take responsibility for it.
Yes.
But I have it on good authority that now the federal government is ready to repair that road. That road was due for total rehab as far back as 2 years ago. It wasn't the VOC. They had a VOC, but it wasn't funded. But now it's funded, and I think the contractor is ready to move in. In the next 2 weeks, it's funded. I can assure you, it's funded.
So you can heave a sigh of relief for the person who sent the message. You didn't put a name to it, but in the next 2 weeks or thereabouts, maximum in the next 3 weeks, you should heave a sigh of relief. But I won't let you out of the studio without asking about inner roads in Lagos. Now, the state seems to be concentrating on major roads and all of that. What about those inner roads? What are you doing to ensure that inner roads are also taken care of? This is outside of Third Mainland Bridge.
Okay, fine. Beautiful question. One of the exercises we're doing currently now, there's Lagos State, we have, just like you have your state roads, you have your federal roads, and you have your inner roads.
Yes.
So, and the inner roads cuts across local governments.
Yes.
Barring any delays, I think by the end of this week we'll have concluded all of the listings, updated listings of what the inner roads are, and then the state roads, and then prioritize also the state roads. The reason why we're doing this is we want to be able to see how we can get the local governments to take more of the inner roads.
Okay. So
except for the ones they cannot handle, then PwC comes in.
Okay.
But we want to resuscitate each of the local governments, their works departments in each of the local governments. Just as we also will resuscitate the regular desilting. We will have to enact, the environmental laws are there, but we need to ensure that we begin to enforce these environmental laws so that we don't leave everything to the states. So if the local government will take up part of this hurdle, it will leave PwC to tackle inner roads, but at least serious inner roads where the local governments cannot handle. That way we begin to develop capacity. The local government engineers, they begin to get used to doing these things regularly. And I'm sure it's not about funding, it's about the willingness and the ability to do it. So everybody begins to take up a part of the hog. Take up part of the regular maintenance of the drains, so that at least you're ensuring that these roads will last longer, and then fix up some roads within their purview, and then leave critical inner roads for PwC to do. Because right now, as I speak, PwC is beginning to take critical roads on the inner, as well as even the ones that are rudimentary for the local governments to do.
And that wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work, because then you are then stretched beyond limit.
So we are sure that there's no panic, Third Mainland Bridge.
Absolutely.
And we will still be able to commute
absolutely
to the island and from the island.
Absolutely.
We thank you very much.
Thank you.
The SA to the Governor on Works and Infrastructure, Engineer Mrs. Aramide Adeyoye.
Thank you.
And I know that you're running off now to go for some. We'll come with you tomorrow and see all the other places that you have to. Okay,
Thank
viewers, you have heard. No cause for alarm. There is no cause to worry. Lagos has this in charge. And don't sweat. The traffic management will be tops for this period. Whatever the case may be, coming up the 24th of July, you have to be very reasonable, you have to be patient, you have to be more accommodating, as things will just be tweaked a little bit. It's all for our good and for the good of the nation at large. Thank you very much for being part of AM Saturday Live. Remember, stay safe, use a face mask when you have to go out in public. Always sanitize your hand and wash it as much as possible. Till we come your way next week. Bye-bye.